Spy Family hit the internet like a truck in summer 2022. You couldn't scroll anime Twitter without seeing scenes, fan art, and cosplays literally every second. And to be fair, the show deserves it for the most part. The show has some pretty high production quality from Wit Studios and Cloverworks, and honestly, I personally really enjoyed Season 1. The soundtrack is punching far above its weight, like, it's honestly way too good. The OPs and EDs are insanely catchy, not to mention featuring some fantastic visuals, but even just the OST itself is insanely good. It hits that classic tropey spy genre while also managing to be unique and interesting. The best part of the show, though, without a doubt, is the characters.
さあ、なんで言ってくれなかったの？
それは忘れてたからです。
Watching the development between this dysfunctional family that's been thrown together in the span of a few weeks is super entertaining, and the dynamics between their true personalities and their secret ones always gives the show a certain edge. The beginning starts off super strong too, with a great pace and some actual great comedic moments, which is saying a lot for anime. But there's a problem with Season 1, a problem that would be only amplified in Season 2, and that's the pacing. Good lord, the pacing in this show is abysmal. The first 3 to 5 episodes of this first season are great. They progress naturally, there's some major story developments in every episode, and overall they're extremely memorable. But after those episodes, I genuinely can't recall what happens in the show. I'm trying to remember for the sake of this script, and I actually can't. And it's mostly due to one character. And I'm sorry because I know the internet loves this dumb little girl, but my god, Anya's episodes grind the pace of the show to a halt. I guess you could chalk it up to character development episodes for Anya, but we're 2 seasons in and I can't think of a single thing that's changed about this girl. She started off the series as a dumb, oblivious child, and after 2 seasons, she's still a dumb, oblivious child, which, I mean, duh, of course she is, she's like 5. But then why on earth is so much of the screen time in this show given to her? All of her episodes just feel like, haha, funny, goofy side stories to the main plot. For a show that's called Spy Family, there's a lot more family than spy, which typically wouldn't be a bad thing. I personally love slice of life anime. Hell, all of my favorite shows are basically slice of life. But in this case, it's the pace that kills this show. You can have a slice of life show about a fake family that's struggling to keep secrets from each other, and make it so much more interesting. With all that being said, I still liked Season 1. The pace may have been dreadful at points, but as a first season, it makes sense to go a little slower as the introduction to our characters. But unfortunately, that brings us to Season 2. Season 2 takes the slow pace to the next level. Even less plot progression happens in this season. Episodes 1 through 8 literally feel like filler. And I hate to use the word filler because unless it's filler in a not following the manga in order to add extra episodes type of way, then there's typically always a reason for every episode to exist. And I think that's true for most of these episodes, but the uninteresting plot makes it feel like filler. And episode 7 in particular is literally filler. I don't care if it's in the manga or not, it's filler. So let's dissect this episode in particular, and I think you'll see what I mean about the pace problem in this show. Episode 7 begins with a scene of a couple new characters discussing their pharmaceutical company going out of business, and briefly mentions that the Desmond Group, the main villain's company, is involved. The way this scene is framed and lit, at first I thought this may be an introduction to a secondary villain, or maybe just a new mission for Lloyd. But then it cuts immediately to Anya at school, and the realization sets in that this episode is going to be yet another pointless Anya episode. But it gets worse, don't worry. Some pointless dialogue plays out until finally the main focal character for the episode shows up. This character is someone we've never met. He's the son of the pharmaceutical boss, who internally blames Damien, the son of the Desmond villain guy, for their family's imminent fall into poverty. So the big pharma kid tries his best to get Desmond expelled, but instantly folds when Damien finds out what he's doing. He spews his tragic backstory for some pity points from the other kids who feel bad for him since he's going to have to leave school the next day on account of not being able to pay tuition. So Big Pharma Loser uses this pity in order to be popular for a day, and do all the things at school he wished he could have done before. The rest of this episode follows this plotline, until it culminates with this out-of-nowhere whack-ass musical number.
La 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 la. Becky,
That's what I'm saying, Anya. What is this? What am I watching? With the big reveal of the episode being that the Desmond Group simply bought out the pharmaceutical company to save it from actually going bankrupt in the first place. So of course, Pharma Boy has to show up at school the next day like nothing happened, and all the kids hate him. That's it. These characters are never brought up again. It's a complete side story. If I'm missing some sort of big message and meaning behind this episode, then I guess I'm the dumb one. But the way I see it, this is nothing but a filler side story. Nothing happens to progress the overall plot or characters. It's not even an introduction to a new side character or anything because, again, he never shows up after this. Now, to be fair, this isn't the whole episode. The last 10-ish minutes are devoted to yet another pointless side story, where Yor stresses to get Anya her gym uniform that she forgot that morning, only to find out that she didn't need them. Episode 7 is filler in its truest definition. It's a completely skippable episode. It's something you might see in an OVA, and honestly I've seen OVAs with more meaning to their overall show than this. It's plot threads like these that litter Season 2, and what brings a pretty good show down to a mid-show at best. I would even say literally nothing progresses the main plot of the show until Episode 9, where we're introduced to a second spy named Nightfall. And to be fair to Season 2, the Nightfall arc is pretty good. Fun action scenes, a good introduction to a good character, conflict between Yor and Nightfall, and a glimpse into Lloyd's relationship with both characters. And the final episode, at last, slightly progresses the main plot, with Lloyd finally making contact with the show's main villain. And that's Season 2 summed up. Literally. I'd say if you're on a tight schedule and still want to follow the plot, just start on Episode 9. And let me clear this up before I conclude. I'm sure that the show follows the manga truthfully, and is completely true to how the story is actually written. I don't really care though. If the problem with the pace isn't the show, then the manga is also written to a poor degree in my opinion. In the end though, with the adaptation of manga to anime, I think there's a lot of leeway you can have to bring interest to the show in this different medium. I think the show would benefit greatly from some general tidying up and cutting some scenes. So in conclusion, Spy Family Season 2 isn't bad, it's just mid. It's a boring slog to get through the first 8 episodes and is completely carried by fantastic animation and OST. Anya is essentially the main character of the show at this point, which I think is such a missed opportunity when you have a cast consisting of a spy and an assassin. Hell, the show does so little with the spy part of the title that I think the plot would be equally as interesting in the same setting, but with a normal man, wife, and kid put together in a makeshift family in order not to raise suspicions of the police. But that's just my opinion. I'd like to hear yours in the comments below. Do you like Spy Family? What would you like to see the show do differently? Please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day.